And Kirk Cousins, the Packers can wrap up the NFC North with a win. They still have a shot at the #1 seed in the NFC.
We're in the playoffs, so that's the first exciting part, but that's not the goal starting the season. The goal is to win the North, and we got an opportunity this week to do that. So there should be no questions about the focus of anybody on this squad and the readiness to play.
Defenses can defend you a variety of ways, but you just always want to have that response. And we don't know how a team will defend us going into a game. You have an idea, but then you have to go play the game and get a feel for it and then have that answer. And I think each week we don't know, and we have to react accordingly. But we'll see what the Packers have for us come Monday night.
A lot of different scenarios. We could just sum it up this way. Tom Pelissero, live at the stadium here, US Bank Stadium. There's a lot on the line for both teams.
No question, Andrew, and these are two teams that have evolved a lot since they last played in Week 2 at Lambeau Field. I spoke this week to Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph, who told me when he went back and watched that tape, start to finish, not the cut-ups, he thought to himself, how are we not getting blown out? Vikings were dropping passes, they were taking penalties, they were committing turnovers, yet in the fourth quarter, they still were 8 yards away from scoring a go-ahead touchdown. We are so much better now, Rudolph said, as a team and as an offense. Meanwhile, the Packers on defense, that's kept them in a lot of games, but that offense has stumbled a little bit. You go back to Week 9, they are near the bottom of the league in scoring and in passing yards per game. Now, I spoke with Coach Matt LaFleur, who told me there have definitely been glimpses of what the Packers can become. He pointed to some of the missed opportunities for big plays, but one thing they've got to do, Andrew, LaFleur said, we got to run the ball more consistently if we're going to get where we can.
Right, and as for running the ball on the Minnesota side, it's not going to be with Dalvin Cook this evening. He's not going to play with that shoulder injury. What's that depth chart look like now?
Well, Alexander Mattison, who is Dalvin Cook's top backup, is listed as questionable for this game because of an ankle injury. No definitive word yet on Mattison's status. I was told late last night the Vikings remained hopeful he might be able to go. But even if Mattison does suit up, you can expect to see a lot of Mike Boone tonight. He was undrafted last year out of the University of Cincinnati. He only had 19 carries prior to last week when he came in against the Chargers and scored a couple of touchdowns. This is a guy, though, that the Vikings valued enough not only to keep him on the roster over the past couple of years, but I'm told, Andrew, they actually turned down a 5th-round draft pick for Mike Boone before the trade deadline. They feel like his skill set is a little bit more Dalvin-ish, if you will, than Alexander Mattison's skill set. I spoke to Boone. He told me he gives a lot of credit to running backs coach Kennedy Polamalu for instilling that mindset that at any moment you could be going in there and being the #1 back. I also asked wide receiver Stephon Diggs about him, said, what is this Mike Boone all about? Diggs said, and I quote, running the ball as hard as bleep all the time.
All right, I like that. And Dalvin-ish, we'll add that to the lexicon as well. Running back adjectives, I used to use Metcalfian back in the 90s. Thank you, Tom Pelissero. So, again, a lot on the line tonight. Real simple here. The Packers clinch the NFC North with a victory. And if they do, it's going to lock Minnesota into the 6th seed. If the Vikings win tonight, they have a shot at a first-round.
I love playing with this team, man. There's so much energy throughout the week during game day, man. It's just so much fun. Look at him. You feel? I mean, if you don't feel that at home, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's just so much fun out here.
My favorite thing to watch right at the end of the game, your defense holds the Bears without an offensive touchdown, and you celebrated. You erupted off the bench. How about this defensive performance?
It's so much fun seeing them grow throughout, getting kind of a bad rap there in the first half of the year and then coming together, not letting any of that get in the way of what we got going on in this building, and we just keep getting better every single week.
How much fun are you having?
I'm having a blast. I'm having an absolute blast. Everybody, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
All right, that's with Stacey Dales there. The Chiefs get the Chargers at Arrowhead, Week 17. It looks as if KC's going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. However, they can sneak up to the 2 and get a bye if they beat the Chargers and the Patriots somehow lose to the Dolphins in Foxborough. Don't think that's going to happen. Not after the way Tom Brady and the Patriots played against a very good Josh Allen-led Bills team on NFL Network in the middle of our 3 games on Saturday. How about this? By the way, what a route by John Brown. lost Stephon Gilmore, got behind the safety, and got the 53-yard touchdown. Bills lead 17-13, but Rex Burkhead cannot be denied. Bouncing off of linebackers into the end zone, the spike, a Gronk spike, if you will. And the Patriots have won 11 consecutive AFC East titles.
Well, that's the way to compete, fellas. That's the way to compete. It wasn't perfect, but you guys competed your ass off, and that was the difference. All right, so look, this is very simple now, okay? This is a playoff game. Miami's a playoff game. If we beat Miami, then we get a bye. If we don't, then we'll be playing the next week. So it's a playoff game. So we got to be ready to go here. We need our best week. Keep building on what we've been building on here, all right? And keep this thing rolling. Look, we need everybody. We need everybody. All right, so let's enjoy this one. Let's relax a little bit here. Come back ready to go. This is a big week. We're in the playoffs. We are in the playoffs now. AFC East champs. Congratulations.
And they get a hat for it, I believe. They now have 17 hats with Tom Brady as AFC East champions. The one time they didn't was the Brady blow the knee out year. Matt Castle, though, still led that team to 10 wins somehow. Mike Giardi, every time somebody wants to remind Tom Brady he's 42, he does something like this. Now, granted, there have been plenty of times where they haven't answered the bell offensively this year. Saturday was not one of them. They showed up and played their best.
This was the best the offense has looked, in my opinion, since week one against the Pittsburgh Steelers, just in terms of the flow and the way they played the game, and certainly Brady's best performance since then. Almost 80% completion percentage in the game against a very good Bills defense. Didn't push the ball down the field, not a single throw over 20 yards, but it was the intermediate stuff, the crossing stuff, to the outside and N'Keal Harry that made their plays. They kept this thing going. 143 yards rushing as well. It just sort of all came together. And dare I say, Andrew, looked a lot like them last year, right about this time, the final 2 weeks of the season, where all of a sudden they became a power running football team. Brady was efficient, and then they won 5 straight and another Super Bowl.
Yeah, here's the other thing, too, Saturday, Mike. A week ago, we sat here, you and I, and we said Julian Edelman just does not look the same. Oh, he looked fine Saturday.
He looked a lot better, certainly, and I think they're doing a very good job here of managing him during the course of the week in practice, and then even in the game prior to being removed from concussion protocol, he wasn't in on every snap, and you can kind of see he would catch a pass, hit the turf, and it was sort of like a reevaluation. Is everything where it's supposed to be? All right, get up and let's play on to the next play. It was very interesting to talk to him after the game, too, Andrew, because you know, the big story of the last few weeks has obviously been just his overall toughness. How is this guy doing it? And he said, can you stop asking my teammates that? They give me a hard time about it. You know, I'm just playing football like everybody else. And now when they go to this Miami game that Belichick says is a playoff game for them, you do wonder, will they manage Edelman again or maybe even force him to sit down? We asked him that after the game, and he said, guys, I get paid to play football, so I expect to see him out there Sunday against the Dolphins.
Yeah, as Brady told Schrager afterwards, Jules toughed it out again. Thank you, Mike Giardi here. As the Patriots once again are looking at the 2 seed. Just beat the Dolphins, you get the 2 seed, you get the bye. They could back into it if the Chiefs lose, but again, beat the Dolphins at home. And once again, Brian Baldinger, nice hat. The Patriots are off on wild card week. No more explosive plays in that offense, it seems, but they're doing enough.
Well, they had a couple. One of them was on their final drive. Well, not their final drive, but the drive that they took the lead in, starting with about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter at their own 41-yard line. Here's an explosive play. 2 Jules to Julian Edelman right here off play action, and they really used it. They used it well because Sony Michel had his best game of the season, and he got behind that defense and spun on contact against Jordan Poyer and picked up 30 on that play. Here's what it looked like from the end zone coming right into your living room. The play action right here, put in the belly of Michel. You can see that both Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds both stepped up to play the run, open up that window in the back, and there's the spin off the safety Poyer, pick up 30. And then the rest of the way was just 6 straight runs. Here's a power O with, the left guard pulling around right here. And it was just classic Joe Thuney right here behind 2 good tight end blocks of Matt Lacoste and Ben Watson. And you can see that Sony Michel came to play, just carrying defenders. And then on 3rd and 1, The Bills don't play this quarterback sneak. Brady just taps the center right here, and he takes 3 yards and gets it down close to the goal line where Rex Burkhead just finished it off. And this is just a great play by Rex Burkhead. You get a Landon Roberts, the lead back, kicking out on Milano, but he breaks the tackle of both Star Lotulelei along with Lorenzo Alexander for the game-winning touchdown right there. They got the running game cranked up. They had 143 yards rushing, 35 carries. It reminded me of that game